Welcome to Guns and Gear Network, everyone. I wanted to bring you another video this afternoon. This one is a kind of a continuation of some other videos I've already done about communication in prepping and survival. And if we look at how much we use communication in our daily lives now and how important it is to us, that's going to be obviously limited in a grid down, crap hits the fan type situation. But if you've prepared and made some preparations in having communication as far as radios and different ways to charge them and keep them up and running and all that, it's going to help you a lot in the long run. And it's very important that you have that form of communication. It's going to be your lifeline, that when law enforcement's nowhere to be found and you need to depend on your group or your neighbors to help you, you need to be able to communicate with them and do that. So probably 90-95% of the communication that you're going to use, it is going to be just kind of normal conversation, if you will. Doesn't really have to be coded or secretive or anything like that. The other 5 or 10%, you're going to need some type of way to code what you're saying. Now, keep in mind, because when you're using these radios, they are over the open airways. So anybody that's got the same radio, same frequency, they can hear what you're saying. So we don't have the luxury of having the super high-tech radios like the military uses and things like that. So we're kind of limited on what we can use. But even before the military, technology came around to allow that for the military and other agencies and government agencies. They use stuff that I'm getting ready to talk about. And some of the things, you know, if you remember, it's still used a little bit, but limited. Morse code and stuff like that, and it was a way to communicate without saying anything, where people could understand what exactly you're saying. And you can create code words and phrases, and that could be something as simple as, you know, mama needs a new pair of shoes, could mean whatever you want it to mean. So let's lay some guidelines down of what you need to understand on your communications plan before we even get started with some other ways to communicate using some type of coding and or secure language. So first thing you're going to need to do is assign a call sign to everyone in your group. I don't care if they're a 2-month-old baby, to your next door neighbors, to whoever it is. Everybody needs a call sign. And the reason is, even though that person maybe not use the radio. Let's use an example. Your neighbors have, it's him and his wife, and they have a 3-month-old. So it could be Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Green Bean. That's your neighbors. So Papa Bear may call on the radio because he needs something for Green Bean. So you'll know exactly what all that means, because you know everybody's got a call sign. So until you get to learning who everyone is in your group that has call signs, you need to make a list. So, and it could be something as simple as a number. Let's say you and your family is 101, 102, and 103. Your neighbor next door is 202, 203, and 204. You know, their family. So that's how you can break it down. And again, each person with a call sign, you need to write out the call sign or the person and the call sign out beside of it so you'll know who that is. That's the first step. Assign everybody a call sign. Then everybody needs to understand the phonetic alphabet, either law enforcement or military, I don't care which. It'd be nice if they knew both. So A in law enforcement is Adam. In military, it's Alpha. B is boy. In law enforcement, B is Bravo in military. So they need to understand the phonetic alphabet, A through Z. Again, make a list of it, give them out, let people have that key to go by with all that information, call signs and the phonetic alphabet, so they'll know what it is. So there's one thing that the military used to use. I don't think they use it much anymore, but back in the day they used to use this method to communicate secretively, in code, if you will. And they used what's called a Brevity Matrix. or a BREVMAT for short. And what a BREVMAT is, it is this key here that has 121 squares total on it, and they are in a configuration of 11 up and 11 across, or 11 down and 11 across, however you want to look at it. So there's 11 and 11, and then you have this. And the whole foundation of the BREVMAT is based off a isogram, and it's a 10-letter isogram. So to understand the meaning of an isogram, a 10-letter isogram is a word that has 10 letters that do not repeat themselves. So they're non-repeating letters. So in this example, I went ahead and did one, is Pathfinder. If you notice, none of these letters repeat themselves. So what you would do, and you can go on Google or wherever you want to go and research 10-letter isograms. I suggest you do that and get you a nice list of those. Have 8 or 10 of them that you can use, because you can switch it up, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So how does the BREVMAT work? You got your key here, and you would put at the top your 10-letter isogram. I leave this block empty for a reason, just to have the keyword so you'll know what, then when somebody picks this up, they'll know what that means. And then down here, we'll do the same, Pathfinder. It's identical, crossing up. So in these empty blocks, you will fill in what you need as far as information you want to give out. It could be words, phrases, anything that's important. It could be road names. It could be a lot of different things that you want. Okay? So, and you can change up these BREVMATs to different ones, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's use this one as the example first. So I filled out a few here just randomly, just to show you. So on this one, I have bring ammo, ambush, under attack, mayday, lights out, send medical, chow time. So obviously we have some in there that are kind of emergency and some that are fairly casual in nature, like chow time. So how would this work? You always start on the left-hand side when you start calling these out, and you go on the left side first, then the top. And here's how it coincides with one another to create a message. So let's use the example. We're going to tell our neighbor that we're under attack, and they need to bring ammo and send medical. So let's use the example that my neighbor is 202 and I am 101. So what I would do is 101 to 202. And you could either do you copy or whatever, but if you want to keep it short and sweet, 101 to 202. If they don't answer, you would repeat that, 101 to 202. So 202, once he hears you, he's going to respond back and say 202 or 101, go ahead, or 202 to 101, go ahead. However you want to figure that portion out. But he needs to affirm that he's heard you call his number or his call sign. Again, it could be Chief Sitting Bull. You're a Maverick, and you want to Maverick to Sitting Bull, Maverick to Sitting Bull, and they'll go ahead, Maverick, whatever the case may be. So here's what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them you're under attack. They need to bring ammo and send medical. So here's how it would play out. You would call your neighbor, 101 to 202. You pause, let them respond back. 202, 101, go ahead. You would then say, Nora, I'm using the law enforcement phonetic alphabet for this one. Nora, Henry, Nora, David, Adam. So what I just told him was that we're under attack, to send medical and bring ammo. Then he would respond back with 10-4, affirmative, or if he couldn't come or he needed more information, he could use this key to then ask. You would have other words in here for him to be able to ask a question back or say something back that is in code. He could just say affirmative, or and then let's say he would say affirmative, Adam Henry. If I had one here, Adam Henry means affirmative. And then or you just say affirmative, and then he would say affirmative, Adam Henry. And Adam Henry on this block, you could have, it could say on my way. So that's how you would communicate back and forth using a BREVMAT. So a couple things, you could switch this up to keep your coding even deeper. what you could do is every Monday you use Pathfinder. Every Tuesday you may change this isogram to blacksmith. So on Tuesdays, everybody knows that's in your group knows to use the blacksmith key, and then on Mondays it's always Pathfinder. And you can label them, with an M or Tuesday or whatever, so they know to switch this up. So no 2 days are the same. So you could have 7 of these, and then after you go through them, all 7 days, you could repeat in a different order, and everybody knows, and you could keep getting layer after layer of a way to code it. On the 3rd week, it reverts back to, the 1st week as far as the way you use these, and vice versa. You can really mix it up to help. These are going to be very important to maintain security of these. If these get out and that's happened, these need to be accounted for. So you could literally do a roll call once a day. Let's say at 9 o'clock p.m. we're going to do a roll call, and we need to roll call that every one of these are accounted for. So, again, you want to make sure none of these have gotten out, that somebody else could find your codes and be able to use them against you, so they would know what you're saying. So again, guys, this is not top secret, spy agent kind of stuff, but it is a way, again, we may need to do some form of communication that's secretive or in code that we just don't want everybody to hear. Even today, bad guys a lot of times use radios to communicate. I saw a video the other day on Facebook where a guy was posting up some security camera footage trying to figure out who these 2 people were that broke into his business, and sure enough, they were on that camera as a black and white night vision type camera that he caught them on. It was a man and a woman, and sure enough, as they're walking up and they're looking in the windows and looking around and stuff, they're using a 2-way radio. Obviously, they're radioing to a lookout somewhere up the road, somewhere nearby. So again, if they were bad guys and they had radios similar to yours with the same frequencies in, and you're talking, they know where you're, what you're possibly saying, and that sort of thing. So even let's use that as an example. If you're going to do lights out or chow time or any of that, a bad guy knows that you're at your weakest certain times of the day. Obviously, everybody's eating, they're relaxed, they're sitting there, maybe their weapons are down, they're eating. So if you tell everybody on your radio that it's chow time, if the bad guy listening knows now that you're at one of your weak points in your security level. Same thing with lights out. If they know that you've called a Frank, which is lights out in this key here, then they know you're at your weakest point as security levels. So again, even some of these casual things you may want to code so people know, or they won't know a lot of what's going on within your group. So anyway, guys, I'm not a communications expert, but I've just researched stuff over the years and just what little bit I've been exposed to it over my lifetime and such, and I wanted to share it with you. If you got any questions, something I didn't maybe explain well enough, or maybe you didn't understand something, ask that. Be glad to try addressing that with you. If you are a communications expert and you'd like to add something to this, please do. We'd like to hear from people and let them share their knowledge and their abilities of what they know with us. And that's the whole thing, guys, is sharing our information and helping each other out. So anyway, communication is very important. Make sure you have a complete plan that includes some type of security coded way to speak through your communication group, and make sure you have that in a complete package. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in today. If you have any questions, let me know. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be bringing another video here in the near future. Have a good day, guys.